What is Salesforce as per your terminology?
It's a CRM.
Yes. The first thing before starting the session, one thing I want to tell you guys. If you have any questions, any doubts, you can stop me at any point of time.
Okay.
You are paying something, you have to learn something.
Okay.
Okay? Be
Yep.
passionate about your, things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Now, when we are talking about these things like architecture of the Salesforce, the architecture of the Salesforce is, you know, before getting into architecture, what is Salesforce as per your terminology? Can you please let me know?
Yeah. Salesforce is a cloud-based technology which is built on Force.com, which is a CRM software.
Okay, good. Now let me explain my version. Salesforce is a cloud computing based technology. Salesforce is a cloud computing based technology. If you wanna build or if you wanna use application which was built on Salesforce, you no need to install any software or hardware. It means as a developer or a customer no need to install any software. Just machine, browser, internet connection.
Okay.
By using these three things, we can connect with Salesforce across anywhere in the world. We can connect with Salesforce across anywhere in the world. Machine, browser plus internet connection. Across anywhere in the world, we can connect with Salesforce. Now next thing, we have another form of a Salesforce. So which is a basically, people who will work in a real time, they know that difference.
Yeah.
Guys, one who is teaching, if really guys have real-time experience, guys know this kind of concept.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking about trainer's perspective. Salesforce is a virtual development and deployment environment. Salesforce is a virtual development and deployment environment. What is that virtual meaning? Basically, when we are talking about the other technologies like Java, .NET, mainframe, initially application will be developed in one environment. For example, dev environment. Once development completed, tester will test that application. Like if everything works fine, we will move the code into the another environment like production environment. So the process of moving the application from one environment to the another environment is called as a deployment. Basically, we'll say that on so and so live is going on,
Yeah.
deployment process. To perform the deployment process in other technologies, we have to purchase the third-party deployment tools. With the help of third-party deployment tools, then only we can deploy the code. But whereas in Salesforce, if you wanna perform the deployment process, we no need to purchase any deployment tool because we have a Salesforce provided deployment tool, I mean in-house tool, that is a change set. By using change set, we will deploy the application from one environment to the another environment. We'll deploy the application from one environment to the another environment. The process of moving the application from one environment to the another environment is called as a deployment. So in Salesforce, to perform the deployment process, we'll make use of the change set. So that's the reason why it's a virtual development and deployment environment. Anyway, we will discuss about this deployment process. I mean, 1 hour discuss this one deployment process as part of the course. I'll open the real-time environment. I know what I am working right now. I will do the deployment process. Okay.
Okay.
Now next. Now next thing. So that's the reason why I told you, like, I said virtual development and deployment environment. Now the next concept is, what is the architecture of Salesforce? Why Salesforce is so famous than other CRM technologies? Do you have any idea about that? So we have a lot of CRM technologies are available in the market, like Sugar CRM, Sage CRM, the CRM, IBM Cast Iron, People Stories. We have a lot of CRMs are available in the market. CRM is so famous when we are comparing to. Basically, let's say you have one dairy farm. It's a mid-scale organization. You are planning to build one sales application for your dairy farm. As a owner of the dairy farm, within less time, less budget, which technology will provide the better service? Obviously, we will prefer the technology to build the application within less time, less budget, which technology will provide the better service. Obviously, we will prefer the technology. Now, if I go with the Salesforce, the moment when we purchase the Salesforce license, they will give some default applications. They will give some default applications, like the sales application, service application, or call center application, marketing application, lead management, campaign management. All these applications will be given as a default applications the moment when we purchase the license. Okay, even in a practice environment also we have all these applications. But whereas in other CRM technologies, we have to build these kind of applications from scratch level, from 0% to 100% level. But when you're getting into Salesforce as a small scale and mid scale related to CRM applications, whatever the requirements you have, out of 100%, 90 to 95% of the functionality was already built by the Salesforce. 90 to 95% of the functionality was already built by the Salesforce. This is another difference from, there is a main difference. Okay, another thing, as you said, it's a cloud-based technology. Got it?
Yeah.
We'll discuss about those standard applications, don't worry.
Okay.
Now, next thing, what is the architecture of Salesforce? When we are talking about the architecture of Salesforce is model view controller. What is model view controller? We are talking about the architecture of the Salesforce, MVC architecture, which is a model view controller. So in Salesforce, model is nothing but database. I hope you know very well. Model is nothing but database. Now, let me draw the architecture. Okay. Now, this is my model. Now this is my controller. Now, in Salesforce, a view can be implemented by using tab, Visual Force, then Lightning. Tab, Visual Force, and Lightning. Then controller can be implemented by using the Apex programming language. Controller can be implemented by using the programming language. Model is nothing but as objects and fields. You know what is a table, what is column. Okay. rows and data, where we will store the information. Now, to transfer the information from controller to the model, we will make use of the DML statements. To transfer the information from controller to the model, we'll use the DML statements to fetch the information from the model, and if you want to populate that information on viewport, we'll make use of the query languages like SOQL or SOSL, which is a Salesforce Object Query Language or Salesforce Object Search Language. We'll use those queries. Now here, let me explain with one example, practical example, so you will get the clarity. Let's say you have a personal banking account. You have a personal banking account. So what we will do? We'll log into personal banking account. We'll log into personal banking. Now, I have a personal banking account. I want to know last month the transactions information. Or else you have a personal, everyone have one nowadays, no? So we'll get into that personal banking up. I want to know last month how many transactions I have done, how many transactions are success, failure, in progress. I want to check that information. What I'll do? I'll get into my personal account. I'll get into my personal account and I'll check it out. I'll check it out my personal account. I'll click on transaction history table. It will ask you what would be the start date and what would be the end date. I'll select the last month, January 1st to January 31st. Then I'll click on go button. The moment, see, whatever we were selecting the start date and end date go button, that comes under view part. The moment when we click on go button, my controller, this view associated, this view related controller will get executed. Controller is a mediator here. Controller will take these two parameters, whatever we have provided, start date and end date, and will search in a model, some model like a table, transaction history table. It will check it out. Do we have any transaction with this specified filter or date ranges? If we have the records, the data will be fetched from that particular table and will be displayed it on again view part. That is a one way. So here we don't have a direct interaction between the view part and model part. Here we don't have a direct interaction between the view part and model part. Now, another example, let's say you know very well about the India's largest job portal, Naukri. So you are planning to register in Naukri account. What we will do, we'll get into Naukri account, we'll click on register. The moment when you click on register button, which will ask you very first of it is, which will ask you what is your first name, last name, experience, kind of a skill set, everything they will expect from us. Once we provided all that information, we'll click on submit. So whatever we were filling, that information that comes under viewport. As soon as when we click on that submit button, that view associated controller will get executed. Controller will take whatever the values we have supplied, controller will take all those values and will create one record, inside model, like candidate table. Okay, this is how Salesforce architecture we have. Any questions here?
No, No, I'm fine.
No. What is the vocabulary of Salesforce? What is the vocabulary of a Salesforce? Now, when we are talking about the vocabulary of Salesforce, the vocabulary of a Salesforce is a term, a subject, field, data, and a record. Okay, app, term, a subject, field, data, and record. What is the application?
Collection of tabs.
Mhm.
Uh,
In general, I'm not asking about Salesforce perspective.
a piece of code which mm, uh, like works which serves as uh, a particular which serves for a particular reason. I mean, a particular need.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me explain. Yes, correct, whatever you said. Basically, application is nothing but a set of services. Set of services which will provide to the customers. Okay, application is nothing but a set of services which will be provided to the customers, which will be provided to the customer. Now, in Salesforce, let me explain with the example. You know very well. So, for example, IRCTC, Indian Railways. Earlier, what was happening? If you want to book the ticket, we have to go to reservation counters. We have to stand in a queue hours and hours. We cannot. No, there is no guarantee for that. Whether you are getting the ticket or not. But nowadays, instead of going to the reservation counter by sitting home, we can book the ticket. We can book the ticket. Or else suppose you are traveling to new place, if you want to order the food or if you want to register, if you want to book the hotel, okay, if you want to take a car, rental car. So we can get all these services, different kind of services from IRCTC application. We will get all different kind of services from IRCTC application. Likewise, what I'm trying to say is application is nothing but a set of services. Application is nothing but set of services which will be provided to the customer, which will be provided to the customer. Now, in Salesforce, we have two different types of applications. In Salesforce, we have two different types of applications. One is the standard application, another one is a custom application. One is the standard application, another one is the custom application. Standard application in the sense applications which was already created by the Salesforce. When we purchase the Salesforce license, we will get these applications as a default applications. We'll get these applications as a default applications, which means as part of Salesforce concern or Salesforce behavior, these applications will be provided as a default applications. Now, whatever the Salesforce provided functionality is not satisfying your requirement, then what we will do?
We can customize.
Yes, we'll go for creating our own applications. Basically, we will call it as a custom application. Now, for example, sales application, sales app, service application, then lead management, campaign management, marketing application. All these applications will be provided as a default application. Now, for example, whatever Salesforce provided standard functionality is not satisfying your requirement, then we'll go for creating our own things. For example, IRCTC application, IRCTC, or suppose you are trying to build application for BSNL, then ICICI Bank, then for example, LIC insurance, or commerce insurance. It's a company, insurance company, finance insurance company, I hope. I hope you know this. Now, I'm not sure. This is a finance insurance company in US. One who is using the Salesforce to build their application. Now, we were working for that right now. Now, standard applications and custom applications. These are things. Now, what is a S object? I'll come to just park it aside for a couple of minutes. I'll come to that. What is S object? You know very well about the table.
Yeah.
I think you are a German table. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, whatever we were calling it as a table in terms of Oracle, a same thing can be termed as a S object, Salesforce object, which is a name given to database, a name given to database where we can store the information, where we can store the information. In Salesforce, all technical features are designed and defined based upon the S object only. In Salesforce, all technical features are designed and defined based upon the S object only. That is the reason why S object will be considered as a key pillar for entire Salesforce organization. Now let me explain by drawing the diagram. Now this is my table, which will have 3 columns. So whatever we will call it as table in terms of Oracle, same thing can be termed as a S object. So here we have a first name. Let us assume this is an employee table. Last name. Designation. So a value which is associated to column is called as a data. Now here this is field. And This is data. And this entire row will be considered as a record. Now, whatever we were calling it as a table in terms of Oracle, the same thing can be termed as a S object.
Yes, okay.
What table will have multiple column headers, and then we have against to each column header we have a value. So value which is associated to particular field or particular column is called as a data. Now, instead of calling it as a column headers, as per Salesforce terminology, we will call it as a fields or a field. We call it as a field, a property or a characteristic of S object. Property or a characteristic of S object. Okay. Now this entire row will be considered as a record. This entire row will be considered as a record. Now let me come back to here. Basically, as object have been divided into two types. One is a standard
And custom.
Yes. So whatever the standard applications we have here, that application related functionality was divided into multiple tables. Basically, we'll call it as a S objects now. That application related functionality was divided into multiple tables. So we will call it as a standard S objects. Now, whatever the Salesforce provided a standard functionality is not satisfying our requirement, then we'll go for creating our own S objects. Basically, we will call it as a custom objects or custom Salesforce objects. Okay. Now, as we discussed, like a field is nothing but a property or a characteristic of S object. Property or a characteristic of S object. One S object can have a multiple fields. But in each and every S object, we have a 4 standard fields. It doesn't matter whether it is a standard object, whether it is a standard S object or a custom S object, doesn't matter. 4 standard fields we have. One is created by, last modified by, owner name. Created by, last modified by, owner name. These are the 4 standard fields we have. Created by, last modified by, owner name. Now these 4 will be available across all type of S objects. Okay, keep this point in mind. They will ask you the question. Basically, we will call it as a who columns. Who columns. Now we'll see how we will create the data. Now, what is tab? Bro, I think I'm a bit slow. If you wanna go fast, I will go fast.
It's okay. I'm fine. You can make it fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is a tab? Basically, as a developer or a customer, we don't have a chance to interact with the model directly. If you want to interact with my model, table, make sure we have to create one medium or user interface. That is a kind of tab. So if you want to create the tab record into one's a particular S object, make sure we have to create the tab for that particular object or a visual force or lightning components. We have to create all these things. By using them, we will create the record inside S object, or we will see the existing information inside S object. Okay, to create the
That's a
record,
graphical representation of an object. Is it a visit?
not graphical, tabular representation, I can say that.
Okay.
It's a view of your records. Yes, you know, whatever you said, but
Yeah.
not it in a pictorial kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, like, you know, it will display the information
Okay.
of the database table we have, that will be displayed in a user interface form. Okay, we'll see practically how we will. Now, the next thing is, what is the navigation for creating the application? For navigation, setup, build, create, app, we'll click on new application. Now, what about the tab? What is the navigation for the tab? Then we'll click on new. We have a different types of tabs. New custom as objects. Then for creating the fields, for creating the custom fields, setup, build, create object, select desired as object, select a desired as object, select a desired as object, then scroll down to detailed base of the S object. We'll have a one section called custom, custom, custom fields and relationship. We have a one section called custom fields and relationships. By using that section, from that section, we will create the new fields. See, if you want to create the table fields or columns, a table or S object, first we have to get into that particular S object, right? So
Yeah.
same thing which I'm doing here. Now I'll tell you how we will create. As I said, we will create the record by using tab now. So the very important thing here is, if you want to become a good developer or a good administrator, keep the navigation in mind.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so I hope you know these things. Guru, you're saying to create the application, or if you want to use the Salesforce application, you no need to install any software or hardware. Then where we will do all these things?
On cloud.
So how we will get that practice environment? So Salesforce has one partner, there is a developerforce.com. Okay, by getting into developerforce.com repository, we will create the practice environment. We'll create the practice environment. So which would redirect to developer.salesforce.com. Then we'll click on sign up. We'll provide the first name, last name, then email, designation, role. Then we will specify the country and a username. Here two important things when we are trying to create the org from these developerforce.com. It's a lifelong you can maintain. So So email and username should be careful. While at the time of providing the or giving username, make sure have to specify the @ symbol .com, those two things. Don't forget that. So from tomorrow onwards, we will start working on the practical things. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
terms and conditions apply, right? If
Yeah,
you
sure.
really like, basically what, see, once, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you are fine with this, my conversation, I'll share my communication, or, consultancy people will share my communication information. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any doubts or any questions, you can call me at any point of time, or you can ping me at any point of time.
Yeah.
No. As part of this course, we'll discuss both admin and development. Any
Okay.
questions from your end?
Um, no, I'm fine actually. I'm fine. So we start with admin and developer, right? Also
Yes.
integrate.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Okay. Okay. Is it going to be like only the one, or are we expecting someone else in?
They will join already, two people are waiting.
Okay. Yeah. Then yeah,
Don't worry
no
about
problem.
that.
We'll yeah, no problem.
Anything else?
No, I'm fine. So tomorrow, what time it is? It will be?
Same time.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine, no problem.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.